Hi, I'm Elysia Buss. I am the host of Horsepower Empowerment Through Connection, and today I have the honor of getting to interview Nicole Perkins, who is a veteran of the Navy, and she was a D3 Echo Seaman, and so she was with. I think I said that right. Did I say that right? No, I totally messed it up. No, say it right for me. I want to do the correct thing.
E3.
E3.
Yes.
I was like, where did the echo come from? I felt like it's a different sort of thing. E3. There you go. See, all the military people can be like, that silly civilian. They're always messing things up. So she was an E3 seaman and working for 2.5 years with the Navy before she unfortunately there was an incident, and so she is a survivor of military sexual trauma. So, in which she was discharged. And today she's going to share her profound story of how that all came to be and how horses helped her to transcend that experience of trauma and come into a really beautiful place within herself, which is exciting. I'm really grateful to have her here today on the show to be able to share her story with us. And she's in bed because she just had knee surgery a few weeks ago. And so she's in the process of healing. And ironically, it was from a horse incident, but I'm sure that will not stop her from riding in the future. So, Nicole, thank you so much for being here today on the show.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. And thank you for your service to our country.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So could you start from the beginning for us?
Oh man, like before the Navy,
I had
a really rough childhood. So the way out was to join the military. My family didn't have a lot of money either, so I wanted to be a registered nurse. I entered my high school to be a registered nurse. The military would have paid for my registered nurse degree, so I went to the military. One, to get away from my abusive father, and stepfather, and two was to get money for college because my mom and parents just didn't have it. So I joined the Navy, and I was 18 years old. Two weeks after graduation, I went to boot camp. And I had a blast. I would do it all over again. I mean, probably a weirdo. That was a lot of fun. And then it wasn't really difficult. Then I was stationed out in Groton, Connecticut on the USS Oak Ridge, which was a submarine dry dock, which is really neat for a female before they allowed females on submarines to say, hey, I worked around submarines. We dry docked the NR-1 research sub, Los Angeles class submarines, and we one time dry docked a barge, which was really interesting. My ship was really, really neat. It was the Oak Ridge had a lot of World War II history to it. It was used to be able to be self-powered. So it would be out in the Pacific in World War II fixing boats that were hit. But the Oak Ridge itself was hit by 2 kamikazes.
Oh, wow.
And they repaired it, and then they decommissioned her after World War II. Well, sorry, not deactivated. Then in the 70s, 60s or 70s, I don't remember, they moved her out to reactivate her, put her out to Rota, Spain to help dry dock the submarines. And then she went to Georgia, and then sometime before my time, she was up in Groton, Connecticut. And I joke around about my military service is I joined the Navy to see the world, and I saw Groton, Connecticut. I didn't get the chance to deploy or do any of that. And unfortunately, I grew up in Kelso, Washington, and I have no street smarts. So I was friendly to everybody. And that friendliness got me in trouble. I was sexually assaulted. And then a couple months later, I don't know what's wrong with me. I just know I'm low anxiety. I'm not sleeping. I can't sit in my barracks and everything. My whole world changed. And I ended up taking 4 Motrin 800 and a cry for help. And from there, they discharged me. And after that, I had gone to the VA for help. Again, I don't know what's wrong with me. This is before 9/11. This is before everything. So they diagnosed me with post-traumatic stress due to military sexual trauma. And I spent years in and out of the VA trying to get help. All they did is do medication at me. Nothing ever worked. One went into a downward spiral. My husband had a lot of issues with me when he was in the military. We were stationed back in Connecticut, and that just made life difficult.
Yeah.
So he ended up getting discharged due to non-related issues during the downsides of the military. That's where he got caught up in. Then he was 18 years. He is so mad. 2 years shy, and he got caught up in it.
Yeah.
Then
It's
we
unfortunate.
moved out to California, and nothing was really changed for me. I'm still having all the symptoms. Not, here's more medication. Here's more. It's like, I don't want more medication. Help me. And so we moved up to Washington State, and I found a really cool doctor. She introduced me to the recreation therapist that the VA has. And the VA, they sent me to Windhaven Therapeutic Riding in La Center, Washington. I went in with the attitude of, they've done everything else for me. It didn't work. What makes this different? So because the VA said, do it, fine, I will try it. So the side effects of horses is now I own my own horse. I have friends. The PTSD symptoms have decreased. They're not gone, but they have decreased. I am actually returning to work after I have not worked since 2004.
Wow. How much would you say that symptoms have decreased by, if you were to give it a percentage?
I went from nightmares 6-7 days a week, not sleeping at all, jumpy, can't deal with people at all, to I'm fine in small crowds. So probably about 80-90%.
Wow. That's amazing.
I went down. I probably won't even meet the criteria for PTSD anymore.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
I will always have it, but the scales that, they'll probably say this is more of a generalized anxiety disorder now versus post-traumatic. The nightmares have decreased significantly. I'm down to maybe 1 or 2 a month. I can handle being randomly touched without losing my mind.
Really,
The horses have really, really changed my life for the better. And now I'm a big advocate of anybody having any kind of anxiety issues, go pet a horse, because just being around them has been, I would go into Windhaven, anxiety, just a mess. And then I would leave in an hour and I'm calm, I'm happy, I'm fine.
What would you say you did within that hour when you were at Windhaven with the horses?
I did a lot of regulation breathing, learning to communicate with my horse, because that's a skill.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have communication.
Yeah.
I was I learned, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain what they do to you. The horse is calm, so I'm calm. And I seen that the days I was spun up, that my horse would be a total butt because I am spun up. He's a reflection of me. And so I had to learn to calm myself down for him to calm down. And it really taught me a lot of skills to just, we're good, we're safe. And I also learned too that, if he's on high alert, I should be on high alert, but he never was. So because horses are they're predator, prey animals. Sorry.
Yeah, they're prey animals.
They're prey animals. So they are survival, and I don't need to be that way. So it's really, everything about it calmed me down. They gave me communication skills. They gave me the ability to breathe.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, because breathing is so much about how we regulate ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's really difficult to be able to do that if you find yourself holding your breath all the time and not in this headspace that you can take more control of the experience.
And I couldn't be around people, before. It was people behind me would scare me to death if you were behind me. But now it's not so much. I'm wary of strangers, but generally I'm not losing my mind anymore with it.
That's excellent. I'm so happy that you've had such beautiful and profound experiences with the horses that have allowed you to transcend these experiences. How long were you at Windhaven before you felt, before I get to that, I remember you telling me that you liked being around horses, but you were afraid to ride. Can you share with us what that experience was like the first time that you tried to get on the mounting block? And
when I first, because I went to Windhaven and said, I'm not going to ride. that was my first approach. But then of course I'm like, I'm gonna ride. And
Hard
then
to resist.
I get up to the mountain block and I feel like my feet weighed 100 tons. I could not physically pick my feet up. And it was a mental block. It was in my head, and it took me a long time, 4 or 5, maybe even 6 months, to be able to even get onto the horse and pick my feet up off the ground.
It's a big deal. But
Yeah.
then one day,
Yeah, one day I took off. I got on that horse,
what did that
and
feel like?
oh, it was amazing. Just his rhythm, and I don't think people really get it. When you ride them, they're rhythmic.
Yeah.
So I'm able to
There's
sit on
rhythmic
the back of
riding.
the
Yeah.
horse and I get the rhythmic, from it. And it keeps me, and the rhythm keeps me going. Oops, I lost you. There you go.
No, it's okay. You're all good. And then so the first time you rode the horse and then you got off, how long did you feel the positive results of that experience for, would you say?
Several
Hours?
days.
Several days?
Several days.
And how often did you go and ride or work with the horses?
Every Saturday, every week.
Every week? Would
Yeah.
you feel like within that week you'd start getting close to that time period and some of the symptoms would start coming back initially?
I mean, Thursday and Friday would roll around and then I would get a little bit of, symptoms back. But as the weeks went on, it decreased and, even further and further. I
Nice.
mean, at first,
Until
like I
you
said,
just felt good all the time.
my attitude was different at first. The first 6 months, I'm like, I'm going to do. The VA told me to do this, so I'm going to do it. But after that, I started to really look forward to going and looking forward to playing with the horses and meeting my new friends. And I didn't have that for years.
Yeah.
I mean, I sat in my house with my kids and my husband day in and day out. And now we're going to the barn next week. Really excited, especially right now. That's a treat.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's excellent. And so when did you feel that impulse to buy your first horse?
Probably about a year into Windhaven, I started looking at kind of want my own horse. Of course, the idea is there, but I look at the cost, the boarding, the food. I'm having trouble riding at this point. So, do I really want to get a horse and just not let it be ridden because I'm having a lot of issues with that? I live 45 minutes away from the barn. Can I afford the gas to get to and from every
Yeah.
single day, and sometimes twice a day? Thankfully, Mary is really nice and really awesome, and she says, "Don't come twice a day." She's got it in the morning, and then in turn, I help her out. Then,
So Mary Loos is a mutual friend of ours. I got connected to Nicole through Mary Loos at Let Loos Stables. Mary Loos at Let Loos Stables is actually one of my affiliates through my business, Global Equine Affiliates. And I was so lucky that she knew Nicole so that we could share this fantastic story. And I always think it's beautiful, the synchronicity in life sometimes, how things come through.
sorry, and then so she takes care. But as last fall, I almost bought a parrot, a big macaw parrot. Then my husband says, "No, I'm buying you a horse for Christmas."
Aww.
And so happens the horse was boarded at the barn already. He was up for sale, and his name is Scooter, and
I
he's a
love that
Korak,
name.
and
Memorable.
he's a pain in my butt, and I love him to death. And it's funny. I'm gonna bring my daughter into this. She rides him consistently, and horses pick their people, and he takes such good care of her. In fact, he nips me but won't nip her. I'm like,
Interesting. And then both of your children have special needs, is that correct?
yes. My son Alexander, he was a very traumatic birth, and we went in for the past 11 years thinking that it was autism. His symptoms, are there, but he 2 years ago he got up from the couch and walked into a wall and fell straight backwards. And the doctor said that warrant enough to get an MRI. And we found that he's missing part of his frontal lobe, and there's damage to his parietal lobe. And then
Very intense.
further neuropsych exam ruled out autism, and it is a brain injury. So all his autistic behaviors, he's missing that part of the brain, which explains the autistic-like behaviors. He has no emotional regulation. He can't sleep on his own. He very rigid in the way he thinks. He works a little bit with the horses, but he's more interested in video games, as most 13-year-olds are. And then about 6 months ago, we got a cerebral palsy diagnosis out of him. So, and that's been difficult and scary even to process.
Yeah, I can
I've
well
dealt 11
imagine.
years with autism. I mean, I can do autism, but now we're walking a whole different walk, and it's difficult for him. You know, he was 2 weeks shy of a black belt in his karate before the accident happened.
Mm.
And he did get an honorary black belt, which is really cool, because he couldn't do most of the test. My daughter, on the other hand,
Oh wait, before we go into your daughter,
yeah.
but he does well with the dogs, though.
Oh
Isn't that right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So
he does
his
dogs.
sort of like service animal and animal assisted therapies with the dogs,
Yeah,
not through
dogs,
the
yes.
horses. Because animal
He,
assisted therapy in general is absolutely like a healthy modality to help people through
yeah,
their
he
struggles.
definitely spends a lot of time with Mary's dogs. Due to allergies, we cannot have one. But he spends a lot of time, and I've noticed even leaving the barn, he's so much calmer and happier just hanging out with the dogs. He pets Daisy and Apple. He just loves on them, and they love him. So he gets a lot from that. And cats. We had cats before, and he connected to a cat. We had Shadow. He connected so well. That cat, we joked around he liked to be abused.
Because he
You
just
know
likes to
what?
rough and tumble like some
Oh
cats
yeah.
do.
The cat would walk up to Alex. Alex was like 3 at the time, and the cat would put his tail in Alex's hand, knowing what's going to happen. And of course, a 3-year-old, takes the cat, drags him across the floor by his tail, and the cat instigated it. The cat put his tail in the hand. He
Like
had to.
literally, just like, hey, so you're gonna take me for a ride and do this thing that we do?
And you
And
know
then
how he
your daughter, she's different.
yes,
And
she
then her brother, because
yeah.
she has what was it? Was it an extra chromosome? I forget what you
Triple X, extra X chromosome. She's Supergirl. But unfortunately, she does have some symptoms. Not all girls show symptoms. Some girls go their entire life and not know they have this disorder. Some girls are extremely impacted and are really, really bad. Thankfully, my daughter is mild. Thankfully. She has intellectual disability, which is connected to the triple X. She also has a lot of allergies. So cats, anything with fur. And the one animal with fur, guinea pigs, we can't have because she's allergic to hay. So we have snakes.
a whole bunch of snakes. How many snakes do you guys have at your
I have
house?
27 snakes, getting my 28th in a couple weeks.
So many snakes.
Then we have, of course, the horse, and I have some hedgehogs. Then she works with the horses. I mean, she rides scooter. She's doing the EAL program with Mary at Let Loos Stables. Yeah. And I was talking to Mary actually this morning. I asked Mary, have you noticed that Olivia is speaking more clearer since she's been working with horses? And it's used in conjunction with speech therapy, because a horse is not going to understand you if you're all slurring your speech or not talking clearly. And if you say, walk on, the horse needs to hear walk on clearly. And just in the past year, I'm seeing Olivia's speech get so much clearer. And I really attribute the tool of the horses. She's also gaining so much confidence.
We're working in partnership. We try and stay away from the word tool.
Sorry about that.
No, it's totally fine. It doesn't bother me. Like it's an educational thing that we get to work on. It's interesting. So speech, when people ride horses, it actually activates the part of the brain that works through speech, which is in part why speech improves when people are riding that struggle with speech and the rhythm of the horse. And it does help to use the words, but also through your body without speaking, you can be in connection with your horse and moving forward. But as we work with horses, we get to go through different levels of our development and connection and our understanding with horses. That's the really beautiful thing with working with horses. We can go through our whole lives and deeply study how to work with horses and never run out of information to learn. Yeah. It's just one of the things I love about it. But
And her
anyways, go on with your
her
horse.
confidence level has skyrocketed.
That's
And
fantastic.
she is something else. You know, Olivia, we always say we have Olivia-isms.
Olivia isn't.
Yesterday's was, she said it clearly, if you take a jalapeno outside, it's not hot.
That's funny. Here, hold on a second. I'm going to shut my window. It's a little bit loud out there. There you go. I'm trying to cut down the noise a little bit more.
Yeah. So yeah, she says it's not hot if you eat a jalapeno outside. Okay. But yeah, she started at the barn, not really knowing how to do anything with horses, but she's never really been around them. So to be fair, but now she's brushes, so she knows what brushes to use. She knows how to get them out of a stall, halter them up. She can saddle them up with help because she is short. She's only 4'3".
That is a little human. Yes. How old is she
Yeah,
again?
11. She is tiny.
See, that's a little human. See, I have a funny story because I stopped growing when I was 10 years old, height wise, not, like, but I've been 5'4" since I was 10. Like I didn't hit puberty until I was 13, but I just like my feet didn't stop growing until I was like 15. I don't know what's up. My body's like super confused about this whole like growing process thing. But that's why I'm just like, oh man, she's 11 and she's 4'3". That's so fascinating.
Yeah, and she weighs like 70 pounds. Little inky binky little thing, but because of Triple X, she'll always have issues with her weight. Always, it'll always be really. She needs to watch it because she'll lose too much, and then she doesn't have anything to lose, and she'll always be thin.
Yeah.
And so, lucky girl. Then,
we get to love ourselves no matter what size we are.
Right? Just to watch her confidence grow is amazing. Yes, Olivia. Welcome. Say hi.
Olivia, do you want to be on TV?
Are you on TV? Come here. What somebody then come back out here. Come back.
That's funny.
Her brother and dad are fishing right now, so she's kind of bored.
And so what, Scooter is boarded somewhere aside from your house?
Yes, he's at Mary Loos's barn at Let Loos Stables.
Right on. What color is he?
Oh, he's the brown and the reddish brown with the black mane tail. I think
nice. So he's a bay.
Best bay. Yeah, he's really pretty. He has a really long tail. You know, Arabians, they flag their tails.
Yeah,
he does that. He'll be cantering. He has his tail flagged. And it's really long. It almost touches the ground, and it's really thick and really long mane. And it's like, oh my gosh, he's so funny. He's such a. You know those the lick things you put in the stalls with the two plastic things in between it? They're like Jolly something.
Oh, the Jolly Balls?
Yes, I put one of those because he gets bored. So I put one of those in his stall, and he destroyed it.
That's
so
funny.
He can't have those again. Then I made made Leo and Scooter popsicles, and I put a bunch of fruit in it, and it made it with everything. It was really, and we put it in the their stalls, and Scooter kicked it out. He's like, whatever. Like, thanks. I worked hard on this.
That's funny.
But Leo, on the other hand, it was funny when my husband took the ice block out of the bowl and put it in his container. Leo's mind was blown.
He's like, what is that?
Yeah, his eyes got big, and he was like, whoa.
That's so funny. They're going to appreciate the next 2 days. Oh my goodness gracious. It's going to be so hot the next 2 days.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Too hot for this girl. Thank goodness for air conditioning.
Yeah, I don't go out. If it's above 80, we're like, no.
We're like, inside sounds great. So do you have any future plans for working with your horses and expanding your range as you're able to transcend these different spaces?
Well, once my knee heals, I'm going, and I got to lose about 30 pounds. And before my knee injury, I was on the track. I had lost almost 60 pounds.
Oh, wow. Well
before
done.
I hurt my knee. And so since then, sadly, I have not been able to do anything. So after my knee heals with my surgery, I'm going to start running again and, of course, lose the pounds again. Then I'm going to take Scooter on a trail ride.
Nice. Yeah. That's so fantastic. Just like, look how far you've come.
Yeah, it'll be my first one. The first time we tried, my horse wasn't into it. He was like with the therapy horse. He just wasn't into it. And the win out of that was I knew when to get off the horse.
Yeah. So you knew your
So,
emergency dismount.
yep. And I
Just
had
because
to
we
use
do our
it.
emergency dismounts correctly doesn't mean that we always don't get hurt.
Yes. And then a week later, a couple days later, because I totally melted down after that. I was so excited. And we went out to play with my Mary said, let's do a better day. So I took Rascal out, and they have a big old tire out there. So I climbed on the tire. I had yoga pants on. He was bareback, and I jumped on him. He shifted. I went off the other side, and it was hysterical. I laughed so hard. You eat pickles for lunch?
That's funny. Hey, Olivia.
Yeah.
Hello.
Then a couple weeks after that is when Mary and I were going to take the horse out to the fields and just ride. I was riding Odin. I don't know a lot about him. And he started, being bunny hopping, just being a pill. So again, don't want to get off. And I misjudged the distance between my feet and the ground.
Yeah.
And I destroyed both of my knees. So
that's no good.
And I have not been able to run or do much of anything else since because it hurt.
No, I can well imagine. Hey, since Olivia's here for a minute, Olivia, would you like to share something that makes you happy about getting to work with Scooter?
Don't want to talk? No?
That's totally fine. She just wants to hang out with mom.
Yeah.
Boundaries are important. It's fine. I'm all for boundaries.
She absolutely loves them, right? Yep.
Yes, we saw a nod. That's what we get. That works. Confirmation. Horse makes girl happy.
Well, he's picked her, so.
It is a beautiful thing when that gets to happen with any kind of animal. A horse, a dog, a cat. Like, it's just, it's a really beautiful experience.
And he definitely prefers her. He responds differently to her. Everything.
Some horses are like that too with kids versus adults. It's really fascinating. And also, like, some horses prefer women over men and vice versa. It's they have their own special personalities.
Yeah. Well, my husband's now talking about getting his own horse.
Oh, that's exciting.
So we're becoming a horse family.
That's cool. You should see if you should get a gated mule.
That would be awesome.
Mules are really smart. And who doesn't love their giant ears? Oh my gosh, giant mule ears. They're so cute.
They had one of those being ridden at the expo. When I did the in-hand event, took Mary's pony up to the Washington Expo. The same one Mary was talking about. And
Look at you going to a giant thing.
Yes. And then that would never have happened before, by the way. Then,
I can't imagine it would have.
So then I had worked for several months with Mary's ponies before I bought Scooter. And my whole goal of those 3 or 4 months was to do well in this expo, the in-hand event for the equine trail sports. And Mary sadly didn't get a ribbon. I got 6th place. So
well done, Nicole.
It was really
well
fun
done.
for both of us. Really, really fun.
I'm sure it was a blast.
She had a blast. River did awesome, the little pony. So that was a lot of fun. The horses, like I said, really have changed my life for the better. Now I'm back in vocational rehab program. I'm not good at math, so registered nurse will never happen. But I am going to be a medical assistant.
Nice.
So I still get to be in the medical field, which I worked my entire life for.
Well, there is something called horse-powered reading and horse-powered math.
Oh.
With Michelle Piquel in Minnesota. So you should definitely check that out, both for yourself and for your kiddos.
Yeah, we'll have to check that out. I saw it. I tell people too, in math, it doesn't make sense to me at all. It doesn't.
Maybe you just have to work with the horses and have that connection point, and it's just a beautiful breakthroughs can happen.
-2 times -2 makes no sense as a positive. None.
You just need the right teacher. That's all. Anything can be understood with the right teacher. I say that as an educator, having gone to college for 10 years. And I understand how frustrating it can be for so many people when schools typically only teach in 2 of the 9 intelligence styles. And so people are oftentimes, they're plenty intelligent. They just have never been taught in a way that meets that intelligence style. And so they're just invalidated and confused and just not met, which is really unfortunate because you have so many people that then have limiting beliefs placed upon them because they've just never been able to be successful with the right teacher.
Yeah.
No.
Do not do that. We had a teacher at the college. She was a kindergarten teacher. and she was also a substitute professor over at the LCC. And I got in her math class, and the way she broke things down, I get it.
That's so great. I love to
But
hear
I
that.
needed that level of, 1 + 2 = 3, and I need to know why. It doesn't make sense to me.
It's
Why,
important to honor where people are at without judgment, and to be able to just be like, okay, this is where you're at. Here's a different way to look at things and how we can put things together. And if you try to put somebody in a space they're not prepared
so,
for,
yeah,
it
as I
doesn't
said, the
matter if
horses
it's
have been,
academics or something
yeah.
else. It's just things don't typically turn out. All right, my friend, you look like you have a kiddo that needs your attention, which I can completely
Yes.
honor and respect. I
Yeah.
so appreciate your time today, Nicole, for sharing your story and your time with me and the viewers. And hopefully we'll get to have this story go forth and have other people realize what positive effects that the horses can have for veterans,
Um,
and more veterans can get the support that they need in partnership with the horses.
yes. Thank you.
All right. Have a wonderful day, my friend.
You too. Bye bye.
Thanks.